drink, I think. Sophie Art Podcast. Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 120 of the Sophie Art Podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this one is a bit of a random topic today, but we're going to be talking about face masks. Face masks, so that's the topic. And I've got things to say, but I don't know what I'm going to say, but I know what I want to say. So this is going to be one of those episodes where I just talk and see what comes out. I've got a lot of things to say. So that's what this week's little episode is going to be about. We've got lilDENNiS with us today, little co-host, but he's actually wearing a face mask, which he's not very happy about, because what it means is his little girlfriend, Kitty the cat, they're not allowed in the same house today. So they've not only got face masks on, they've got to do social distancing, which means lilDENNiS and Kitty can't have any kisses. Kitty kisses. That's cool, isn't it? Little kitty kisses. Kitty kisses. Dennis, keep your distance. You can, if you're watching on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson, you can see lilDENNiS, and he's about to start this one. Boing! So he's in his little house. I think today he's going to look at little Kitty. You can see the back of his little face mask. These are high quality face masks for lilDENNis's. He looks he looks quite comfy in there. They look like they're about to do a bank robbery or something, these two. But today we're going to be talking about face masks. Next week we're going to be talking about death. I had two dreams this week in quick succession, all about death. And the thing is, it kind of links in a bit to these face masks. Because I'm going to be honest, this week I started thinking to myself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth being in this life? Because it seems so easy to just take yourself out of it. Yeah, stop playing the game, take yourself out, see what happens. Because when you die, you're not going to actually die. It's just a transition. So I think, why not just go into the transition now instead of putting up with this suffering? Because I feel like these face masks are a way of potentially producing suffering for the world. So what's happened is, in the UK, next week, a week today, you're only allowed into shops if you've got a face mask on, which I don't think it's very nice, because it feels like attack on the freedom. So what have we got here? I've got little show notes. I'll put here a public service announcement. I was going to do one of those voices like, we interrupt this broadcast for one of those public service announcements. But I didn't in the end, because I thought I didn't. What have we got here? I've put, you always have a choice. I've put work uniform. I've put shirt ninja, and yeah. So how am I going to start this? So next week you've got to wear a face mask going into a shop, and to me it feels like an attack on my freedom, because the whole point of being a human, the power of being a human, is you have free will. If we were just robots, we would just be. Because when you're not aware of when you're not aware of what's going on in this world, you're kind of going through life subconsciously. So you're kind of going through on an autopilot. So what that means is you're doing the probability-based thing. So if you're not aware of what's going on, you're just going to act out probabilities. So it means you'll be doing things you don't want to do, just because the probability says that's what you're going to do. When you start becoming aware, you realise that you don't have to follow the probability, which means even if the probability is 99% that you're going to do something, free will means you can go towards the 1%. But that 1% is always a scary one, because it's the 99% is like following. It's playing it safe basically. So deep in my soul, somewhere very deep, I know that these face masks are not good. Yeah, because the thing is, I should be allowed to decide what I want to do. So my Reiki healer, one of the things she said to me, which was super powerful, it's stuck with me ever since. She says you always have a choice. Everything you do in life, you always have a choice. The thing is, for this one, these face masks, yes, you do have a choice, but you kind of don't. Because if you don't wear the face masks, you can't go into the shops. If you can't go into the shops, you can't get food. Well, there is ways around it. So I was thinking you could start buying food online. So there is a way around it, but the problem with that is then you're disconnecting from the system. Because if you want to change the system, you've got to be inside the system. I feel like this is why some of us come to Earth. I feel like some of us are outside of Earth, like the spirits. We're looking at the Earth, seeing like the suffering, and we want to change it. So, but we're trying to change it outside. It's impossible. The only way to change something is inside. It's like if you want to change yourself, you have to go inside yourself to change yourself. If you want to change the Earth, change the world, change society, you have to be inside of it. So yes, you can say, I'm not going to play this silly game. You could say kill yourself, take yourself out, but then how is that really going to help the world? It's not. You could start buying all your food online. How is that going to... That's not really going to change the world either. So what you've got to play the game to some extent, which means you've got to be in the system. So that the only thing at the moment is you've got to wear a face mask then. To be in the system, you've got to wear a face mask. So this got me really sad. For a couple of days I was actually crying. I kept waking up in the middle of the night crying because I was thinking, this isn't fair. And then what happened was I had a dream, and in this dream I was semi-lucid. I was sort of lucid, and this bloke was right in front of me. He put his hand inside of my belly, he twisted something. I said, what are you doing? And he says, I'm retuning your digestive system. I don't know what that means, but when I woke up, I felt a lot better. And I also came up with a little idea after that, which I thought, what I'm going to do is, if I don't wear a face mask, then you're going to get fined, potentially. And also, if you're not wearing a face mask, you're going to start producing negative energy because people will be a bit resentful and stuff. So you've got to try to think of a way to do this, which is to play the game, but not you. Because the thing is, I feel like I'm going to do something I don't want to do. So that, like, my free will is getting compromised, I suppose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear a face mask, but I'm going to write on it something. I don't know what I'm going to write. I'm going to write something like, give us back our freedom, or give us our freedom, or freedom, or something. So what I'm going to do is every time I'm wearing that face mask, I'm going to be saying on here, I'm going to just say like freedom. I'm going to think of a message, which is a positive message. So what that means is, it means I'm still playing the game, I'm still inside the system. So I'm still inside the system, but I'm also getting my message across, which means I'll feel a lot better about myself. And then I'll see how it goes, and then maybe I'm still not looking forward to it. It doesn't seem right that we should have to wear a face mask, which is a bit shame. But because I thought, well, I could start buying stuff online and all the rest of it. But where I work in a little shop, cleaning. So when the customers come in, you've now, from next week, you've got to wear a face mask. I haven't got a problem with that because I think to myself, wearing a face mask to work is completely different. Because it's like the boss. If the boss says to you, you've got to wear a crash helmet or something, like a safety helmet. Let's say you got to wear one of those safety helmets. Well, you would wear it, even if you didn't want to, because when the boss says what you got to do, you do it. But that feels alright. But when they say you're not allowed in a shop, you're not allowed to go into a shop unless you wear this face mask. It doesn't feel right at all. It does not feel right at all. So I thought to myself, I've not got a problem wearing the face mask to work. It's just like I said, going into the shops. But I feel like I've come up with a little idea. So I'm going to put that message on. And like I said, just see how it goes. But I really wanted to talk about this because it was really bothering me. Because what was it I started thinking? Yeah, I've been thinking a lot, Should I talk about this next week? Well, I've got something to say about suicide. I think I'll talk about that next week. It's very interesting. I've had this thought since my childhood about how I feel like suicide might not be a bad thing. And I know it sounds a bit... Again, it goes against... That's like the 1%. It goes against society. Everything in this world says suicide is bad. But how do you know it is? But then I also think, is that the mind trying to sort of escape the reality? And the reality is we're losing our freedom, potentially. But then I also remember something I said a few months ago on the podcast. I said, in the end, this is going to be beautiful. I know it. We're all going to set ourselves free. But I said, it will get worse before it gets better. Oh, this was quite funny. In my automatic writing, because I woke up in the night, I was crying, and I started writing about the face masks. And what it said was, I started saying, did the people in the concentration camps, like in the World War, did those people have to do things they didn't want to do in order to survive? So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe this is like some sort of reoccurring pattern throughout history, where the common person has to do things they don't want to do in order to survive. But maybe somebody in that concentration camp, they did something they didn't want to do, but it allowed them to survive. So then when they got out of the camp, or maybe they were the ones that set the camp free or something. Whereas if they had just given up, maybe if they hadn't have done the thing they didn't want to do, they would have got killed, and then the whole camp wouldn't have been able to get out. So in other words, maybe a little sacrifice, it will be a good thing in the end. But then again, it just it doesn't feel right that you're forced to do something you don't want to do. And again, like I said, you don't have to do it, but you kind of do. So it's a bit of a weird one, this. I'm actually going to be talking to my Reiki healer in, I think, 3 weeks' time, the first week of August. I'm going to talk to her about this, because I'm really interested to see what she says. But that's basically it, really, for this week's little podcast. It's just, I wanted to talk about it because it was bothering me. And I feel like maybe if you talk about it, other people will say, well, I feel the same way. And then if there's enough people who feel like that, maybe somehow we can change the system or something. Yeah. But like I said, what I think is there's always a way. So I come up with this way of putting a message on the face mask. And how do you not know that will do something really powerful? How do you not know that you'll be out in the shop, you've got this message on here saying something like freedom. Somebody else sees it and they think, yeah, I agree with that. So then they do it. And then before you know it, there could be loads of people like writing messages on their face masks as a way of like protesting it. And then maybe that will produce some sort of ability to overcome it or something. But I'm going to make mine fun though, because what I'm going to do is on my little face mask, I'm going to draw a little unhappy face with like a little cat with whiskers. So it's going to look like I've got a little cat's face. And I'm going to write a little message, but I'm not 100% sure what it is yet. I have to wait and see. That's basically it really for this week's little podcast. Little Dennis, he's still wearing his face mask. He does look like he's going to do a bank robbery. He looks quite cool. He looks quite cool in his little face mask. He doesn't like it though. He wants it gone. Dennis. Little Dennis. I think he's going to... Let's see if he can get his face mask off. Oh, he's going to do it, I think. He's worked it out. He's put his hand on freedom. Dennis is free. Oh, I knew he was going to do that. He's gone and kissed his little girlfriend, Kitty. He set her free. Back in their house. They are going to get some action. Little Dennis and Kitty, they're happy now. They are free. Hopefully we will be free soon as well. But all that's left is this week's little inspirational quote. I've got loads of them for this one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little quotes. And they're all about freedom. But I think I'm going to read the bottom one. So this week's inspirational quote, it goes to somebody called Thucydides. He was some sort of Greek philosopher or something. It's Thucydides. Thucydides. I love this. What a beautiful little quote this is. It says, "The secret to happiness is freedom, and the secret to freedom, the secret to happiness is freedom, and the secret to freedom is courage." Courage. See, because I thought to myself, what would be the ultimate act of courage? It would be to not wear a face mask at all. But if I did that, I would lose my job. I would then lose my house. Lose my little house. Little Dennis would lose his little house. We can't have that. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like you're in a situation. I feel like you've got a gun to your head. Have to see what happens. But I love that. So my way of courage, because it is going to be it's going to be quite squarey for me to wear this face mask with a message on it. Because if I'm wearing this face mask with a message on it, I'm going to be drawing attention to myself, which I've never liked that. But maybe this is what's required. Maybe this is part of what's required for me to find some courage. It's the only way I can think of to do. I can't think of any other way to sort of do this other than to do that. So there is a little bit of courage involved in me doing that, because also it might produce negative energies, because people who feel like the face masks are a good thing, they might take offence to that. But as I've said before, if you take offence to something, it's you that's got to work out the issue. That's what I think. If you take offence to something, there's an underlying issue. So I'm taking offence to these face masks. It's because of the freedom's being compromised. So you've always got to work out what is the source of, what's that word? Offence. If you've taken offence to something, I feel like you're the one that's got to work out why you've taken offence to it. That's basically it. So the secret to happiness is freedom, and the secret to freedom is courage. And that's by Thucydides. Watch this now. I'm going to make a little moustache out of hot chocolate. Make a little moustache out of hot chocolate. That's quite cool. Look like a little cat. I love hot chocolate. That's cool, isn't it? That was it.